Alright, buckle up, because we're about to dive into one of the weirdest, most mind-bending paradoxes in the world of time travel and quantum mechanics. Let's talk about the Bootstrap Paradox. Sounds fancy, right? Yeah, it is. And it gets even weirder the more you think about it. So here's the deal. Imagine you're some kind of time traveler. Let's assume you've got a cool, sleek time machine, not some clunky 80s style DeLorean, and you're just chilling in the year 2025. You've been thinking about how crazy quantum mechanics is, like particles popping in and out of existence. Stuff can be in two places at once. The usual sci-fi stuff, and you decide, you know what? I'm going to go back in time and blow Einstein's mind. So, you hop into your time machine and go back to 1905, right smack in the middle of Einstein's wild ride of discovering the laws of the universe? But here's the twist. Instead of meeting him to talk about relativity, because, let's be honest, that's a whole different rabbit hole, you hand him a book about quantum mechanics. You're basically handing him the future in a nice little paperback. Now, Einstein's eyes get wide because he's seeing all these concepts he never thought of before. He's like, wait, what? Particles can exist in multiple states. You mean I wasn't the only genius around here? So, he takes all the knowledge from the book, writes it down, and boom, he publishes a groundbreaking paper. And this paper, which you gave him, ends up being one of the foundational texts of quantum physics. Einstein, with the knowledge from the future, essentially writes quantum mechanics. Fast forward to 2025. You, the time traveler, are now doing some reading on quantum physics. And guess what book you find? Yeah, the same one that Einstein wrote down from your future self. You realize, wait a minute, this book is exactly the same one I handed to him. I can just go back in time and give it to him again. So, you jump back into your time machine, travel to 1905 again, hand Einstein the book, and the loop repeats itself. So, here's the million-dollar question. Who actually wrote the book? Well, the thing is, no one wrote the book. It just exists, passed back and forth through time like a hot potato. You gave it to Einstein. Einstein wrote the paper based on it. Then you found the book in the future, gave it to Einstein again, and the whole thing keeps going around and around. But no one created the book. It didn't come from anywhere. It just, poof, exists because of this weird, paradoxical loop. And that, my friends, is the Bootstrap Paradox. Now, before you go, wait, that's it. That's your paradox. Just a time-traveling book. Let me break it down for you a little more, because this is a huge mind-bender. Time travel is already pretty wild, but this paradox basically turns the concept of cause and effect on its head. Usually, we think of things happening because something caused them. Like, if I eat a pizza, it's because I ordered it, right? That's normal cause and effect logic. But in the case of the Bootstrap Paradox, the book has no cause. It just exists because it's handed back in time over and over. So, who made it? Was it you? Was it Einstein? Was it some time-traveling chicken who laid an egg full of quantum knowledge? Nobody knows. It's like the book is its own creator. Imagine the universe just playing a game of catch with time, and the book is the ball that never gets dropped because it's just looping around and around. It's like if you go to a party, and everyone's talking about a legendary joke. You hear about it, but no one really knows who told it first. It's like this joke exists, but no one actually wrote it. And somehow, it's always been there, just bouncing from one person to the next. That's the paradox. Time creates something, but time can't explain how it happened. Mind-blowing, right? Now, let's talk about how this messes with our brains a little more. If the book never had an origin, does that mean it's just an object that exists outside of time? Could other things exist the same way? Maybe if you give a person an idea, they write it down, pass it forward, and no one ever knows where the idea actually came from. Maybe a quantum version of ghostwriting. Yeah, let's call it that. You see, quantum mechanics is all about strange, unpredictable stuff. Particles can be in two places at once. Things can tunnel through barriers, and when you look at them closely, They act like both waves and particles. It's chaos in the tiniest form. But the Bootstrap Paradox is like taking that chaos and saying, yeah, this should apply to the whole universe, buddy. But let's bring it back to Einstein, because we can't leave him hanging. Imagine Einstein reading your book on quantum mechanics, and in his mind, he's like, wait, I'm going to be the smartest guy in the room now. This is the key to everything. He writes his paper, and he becomes the father of modern physics. But how does he do it if no one actually created the theory? You're handing him the keys to the universe, and he just doesn't know it's happening. It's like giving a magician a wand, but the wand never had an inventor. It's like magic, except instead of pulling rabbits out of hats, you're pulling theories about quantum mechanics out of nowhere. So, you might be wondering, why doesn't this happen in the real world? Well, it doesn't, because we don't have time machines yet, and time doesn't usually loop like that. But think about it. Could this paradox actually be possible? If time travel becomes a thing in the future, who's to say it won't cause these kinds of loops? Maybe one day we'll look back at this paradox and say, hey, this is how the universe works. We just never figured it out until now. But for now, it's just a wild thought experiment that breaks our brains every time we think about it. If time travel was real, this is the kind of thing that could happen. You're stuck in a loop where the cause and effect don't make sense, and in a world like that, maybe we'll start wondering, what else is a loop? Maybe our lives are looping. Maybe my morning coffee is looped, and that's why I always need it. So next time you're reading a book or staring at a time travel movie, remember the Bootstrap Paradox. That book you're reading might have no author at all. It could just exist in a timeless loop. And who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to hand it to Einstein someday. And hey, if you ever get to it before me, don't forget to mention my name. After all, I gave you the idea. Wink wink.